When you look at a map of North America, it seems complete, right? A grid of cities, highways, and borders, all lit up from space. But what if we could peel back the concrete, quiet the power grid, and rewind the clock by 1,000 years? We wouldn't find an empty wilderness. We'd find a continent teeming with life, a complex network of trade routes, massive monuments, and entire civilizations that rose and fell long before European ships ever appeared on the horizon. But alongside this real, verifiable history, there's a shadow world, a realm of myth and rumor. Did ancient Egyptians build cities in the Grand Canyon? Did a race of giants once roam the Ohio Valley? To understand America's lost worlds, we have to walk a fine line between what archaeology can prove and the captivating pole of historical fiction. Let's dig in. Long before London was a major European hub, a city larger and more sophisticated thrived right here in America, near modern-day St. Louis. This was Cahokia. At its peak around the year 1100, it was home to some 20,000 people. This wasn't a simple village. It was the heart of the Mississippian culture. The centerpiece, Monk's Mound, is a colossal earthwork, larger at its base than the Great Pyramid of Giza, all built by people moving baskets of earth, one by one. Archaeologists have found evidence of advanced astronomy, sprawling public plazas, and a complex society. So what happened? By 1350, Cahokia was completely abandoned. Was it climate change, war, or disease? We don't have written records, only theories. For centuries, settlers refused to believe Native Americans could build such wonders, inventing a mythical lost race of mound builders. It took science to finally prove that this incredible civilization was built by the ancestors of the very people who were ignored for so long. Now, if Cahokia is a lost reality, the 7 cities of gold, or Cibola, is a lost illusion. This legend fueled the Spanish exploration of the American Southwest. Like nothing else, in the 1530s, a friar returned from the desert, claiming he'd seen a city shimmering with gold and jewels, larger than Mexico City. This sparked a gold rush. In 1540, the explorer Coronado led a massive expedition to find it. After months of brutal travel, they finally arrived at the fabled city, but there was no gold. The jewels were just mica glittering in the sun, and the empire was a humble but resilient Zuni Pueblo village made of adobe. Cibola was a myth born from greed. The real tragedy wasn't that the gold city didn't exist. It was that the invaders were so blinded by their quest for riches that they failed to see the incredible cultural wealth of the civilization standing right in front of them. Let's travel to New Mexico, to Chaco Canyon. Between 850 and 1250 AD, the ancestral Puebloan people built massive stone great houses, some standing for stories high with hundreds of rooms. This wasn't just impressive architecture, it was architectural genius. The buildings are aligned with the movements of the sun and moon with incredible precision. The famous sun dagger carving used light and shadow to mark the solstices and equinoxes perfectly. This was the center of a vast trade network that stretched thousands of miles, proven by discoveries of macaw feathers from Mexico and even traces of cacao. But like Cahokia, the people of Chaco left. A severe drought in the late 1200s was a major factor. But there's also evidence of conflict and spiritual crises. They didn't vanish into thin air. Their descendants are the modern Hopi and Zuni people. Chaco is only a lost world because its grand silence today masks the vibrant, bustling center it once was. For a long time, the idea of Europeans in America before Columbus was dismissed as fantasy. But in the 1960s, a lost world was confirmed. At a site called Lonso Meadows in Newfoundland, Canada, archaeologists uncovered the remains of Norse sod houses. Carbon dating placed them squarely around the year 1000 AD. They found iron nails and tools for making yarn. This was it. Indisputable proof that Vikings had crossed the Atlantic 5 centuries before Columbus. The Norse sagas spoke of a Vinland, a land of grapes and plenty. Lonso Meadows was likely a base camp for further exploration. But how far did they get? You might have heard of the Kensington Runestone, a slab found in Minnesota that supposedly tells of Vikings in the Midwest in 1362. While it's a fascinating story, nearly all experts agree it's a clever 19th century hoax. So, while Vikings on the coast is a fact, A lost Viking kingdom in America's heartland remains fiction. Now, for one of the most enduring myths of all. On April 5th, 1909, the Phoenix Gazette ran a spectacular front-page headline explorations in Grand Canyon. It told the story of an explorer funded by the Smithsonian who claimed to have found a massive underground city carved into the canyon walls. He described Egyptian-style hieroglyphs, statues that looked like Buddha, and mummies. Conspiracy theorists still claim the Smithsonian covered it all up to protect mainstream history. But the truth? There is zero evidence, no artifacts, no records of the explorer, nothing. The Smithsonian denies any involvement. The article was a classic piece of sensational journalism from an era known for it. While the Grand Canyon holds immense, genuine history from Native American peoples, the lost Egyptian city is pure fiction. Finally, what about the giants? In the 19th and early 20th centuries, newspapers were filled with reports of giant skeletons, 7 to 9 feet tall, being dug up from ancient mounds across the country. Was there a lost race of giants? Not Keith. Not Keith. In many cases, these were misidentified animal bones, like those of a mastodon. In others, it was simply measurement error, or a genuine case of gigantism, a rare medical condition. Some were outright hoaxes. While many oral traditions speak of tall or powerful ancestors, the idea of a distinct race of giants just doesn't hold up to scientific scrutiny. So, are America's lost worlds fact or fiction? The answer is both. Cahokia and Chaco Canyon are real, incredible lost worlds that challenge old, colonial ideas about the past. They are the undeniable fact. The cities of gold, the Grand Canyon's Egyptian cave, and the race of giants are the fiction. They tell us more about the people who created those myths than about ancient history. The real treasure isn't finding gold or lost pyramids. It's realizing that the history of this continent is far older, deeper, and more fascinating than most of us were ever taught. When we stop searching for fantasy, we can finally see the magnificent reality that's been right under our feet all along. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the past, don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into history's greatest mysteries.